The Blue Blur is finally back with Sonic Frontiers, and this time he's got an entire open world to dash through. But as we usher into this new era for 3D Sonic games, does Frontiers actually manage to nail that perfect balance between speed and control? Well, in this review, we're going to see whether Team Sonic's latest effort is a home run or if it's just another dud in their catalog. So let's dive in. First off, Sonic Frontiers is a smoothie of game design philosophies. Despite being one of the most hyped Sonic games of all time, Frontiers has had a strange release cycle. On one hand, everyone's been eager to see if the Hedgehog can actually fit into this somber Breath of the Wild styled world or not. At the same time though, we've seen glimpses of classic Sonic goofiness that straight up feels bizarre in this setting. At its core, Sonic Frontiers is a deeply fascinating game. It takes inspiration from a ton of titles before it and somehow combines them all into one package. Seriously, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Super Mario Odyssey, The Legend of Zelda, and even Shadow of Colossus, they're all mushed together into this open-world adventure. But even though such conflicting game design choices shouldn't inherently work together, they somehow do. And that's the baffling thing about this game. It defies all laws of traditional video game design and comes up with a flawed adventure that still feels better to play than anything else this year. Oh, and yeah, that's a pretty big claim considering how we literally got SIFU, Elden Ring, and Horizon Forbidden West at the start of this year. It's almost like Sonic himself has managed to open some sort of paradox here by running fast. He's locking horns with the God of War himself here, which is an absolutely insane thing to say. But hey, it's happening and we're here for it. Up next, Sonic has never felt better. Alright, enough with the comparisons. Let's talk about how the game controls within its own vacuum. After all, even though we love all the quirky story beats of Sonic games, you know we're all here for that tight gameplay. And we're happy to report that this is easily one of the best feeling 3D Sonic games of all time. In fact, we'd even go as far as to say that it's got that generation's magic in it. Everything from the boost to the turning and parkour feels incredible. Plus, the world is littered with so many rails and hoops that it's almost impossible to ignore them. Oh, and let us tell you, you don't want to run around on land like a scrub here. Sonic Frontiers shines at its brightest when it asks you to nail a parkour sequence. And when you do that, you're rewarded with one of the many collectibles in the game required to progress through. Besides, even if you didn't get those, the whole process of nailing a rail section is so satisfying that we can't help but compare it to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. What's more, even if you don't vibe with the way Sonic moves here, there's nothing to worry about, cause guess what? The game allows you to tweak every single thing from the top speed to the turning circle. And these little controls make such a massive difference to the final product that we've just gotta applaud Sonic Team for including it. Seriously, you can literally fine-tune the Hedgehog's movements to exactly suit your needs. Now for the bizarre world of Sonic Frontiers. Let's talk about the elephant in the room now. Even though we've seen countless 3D Sonic games at this point, Frontiers is the first major step that, in every definition of the word, truly modernizes the franchise. No longer are you bound by the linear shackles of a Sonic stage. Instead, you've got an open world that you can explore at your own pace. Now, interestingly, Sega calls it an open zone rather than an open world, and honestly, it makes total sense. You see, rather than a single sprawling world like an Assassin's Creed game, Frontiers has a bunch of different islands, each with its own set of challenges, bosses, and collectibles. The aptest comparison here would be Super Mario Odyssey. In fact, the world philosophy is so similar to the Nintendo platformer that even the collectibles feel like moons. Like you're running around doing different challenges and puzzles to get these things in a single dense area. Plus, all of these have varying degrees of difficulty levels, keeping you on your toes at all times. What's more, this loop feels so satisfying because it never overstays its welcome. Instead, most challenges don't last for more than a couple of minutes. And then there are the cyberspace levels, which are classic Sonic Generation-styled stages that grant you keys to unlock more of the world. And while most of them are pretty well designed with homages to iconic stages like Green Hill Zone or Chemical Plant Zone, they don't innovate like the rest of the game does. Not to mention, the bosses feel very out of place. Rails and speed boosts aren't the only thing that populates the world of Sonic Frontiers, and there's a lot more to these barren islands that meets the eye. The bosses, for instance, are dotted all around the map and can be triggered by just walking up to their arenas. They've got a decent variety, but they still manage to miss the mark, cause well, the difficulty level is all over the place. Most of them are too easy, even on hard, and rarely ever impress. That being said, they're still an integral part of the game, as they give you cogs that unlock the cyberspace levels. Don't get us wrong, they're mostly fine and we don't have any issues with the enemies in this game. It's just that they don't really have any sort of unique characteristic to them, and they just seem like generic robots rehashed from other sci-fi properties. Plus, a lot of the fights just feel straight up janky, with weird camera controls, annoying bugs, and just a general lack of polish. The Titans, on the other hand, are these massive final bosses that you've got to face at the end of each island, and boy do they impress. The sense of scale with these guys is enough to leave you in utter awe. What's more, they also give you the most valuable item in the game, the Chaos Emeralds. And in a way, they almost remind us of the Shadow of the Colossus. Still, all of this is let down with a visual language that never really manages to blend together super well. What's more, the performance is horrendous. Sonic Frontiers, by the time you roll credits, leaves you with a bittersweet feeling, like everything from the way it controls to the gameplay loop is absolutely top-notch, and even the story isn't too shabby. Sure, it's another generic Sonic story, but hey, at least this blue talking hedgehog isn't kissing a human princess as he did in Sonic 06. Also, this is easily Roger Craig Smith's best performance as Sega's mascot, so the game definitely has a lot going for it. At the same time though, you can't help but feel like it's a missed opportunity, and that they should have just delayed it. Not even kidding, the amount of pop-in and weird glitches in this game is absolutely insane. You'd be running across the grass and a massive structure will spawn right in front of you out of nowhere. Now apparently, this happens because these structures and rails don't have any LOD set up for them. Still, something like this just shouldn't happen on next-gen consoles with fast SSDs, and perhaps that's the thing that prevents Sonic Frontiers from being an absolute masterpiece. Oh, and these aren't the fun type of bugs like a Bethesda game either. They're just straight up annoying and can completely destroy any sort of immersion. Other than that though, the visual setup here is pretty incredible. You've got a full day-night cycle, screen space reflections, and of course, Team Sonic's incredible volumetric lighting tech. Sure, the engine is just an upgraded version of the one they used for Sonic Unleashed, but it's still very good looking. Finally, the verdict on Sonic Frontiers. Sonic's latest adventure is also his biggest one yet. It's expansive, well-designed, and most importantly, fun. Frontiers may not have big blockbuster moments like God of War Ragnarok or insane levels of polish like Mario Odyssey, but what it lacks in terms of its technical prowess, it makes up for in its heart. This is a game that's going to usher the franchise into a new era, which we can see being successful for a very long time. And even though it stumbles in places, we're glad that Team Sonic was daring enough to take the leap of faith. Of course, not everything comes together like they would have wanted, and it's not a perfect experience by any means. Still, Sonic Frontiers is one of those games that we'll remember for years to come, whether it's for the way it revolutionizes the series' formula or just for its own brilliant design. This is a genuine love letter to all 3D Sonic fans, and we hope that Sega can continue building upon this strong foundation. Besides, the hype train is leaving, and we don't want to miss it, so gotta go fast. Do you plan on diving into Sonic's latest adventure though? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.